Hi, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this video. My name is Mr. Ryan. Pronouns are he and him. And over here with me on the screen somewhere is,
Hi, it's Miss Danielle, pronouns she, her.
and we are with the Quinn Street Project, bringing drama to the classroom. And drama is all about telling a story using the three tools of the actor: body, voice, and imagination. And we are joining you right now for lesson 2, número dos, for a storytelling sojourn. All right. And there's going to be a few more lessons, but we're going to talk about how not only how to use our body, voice, and imagination, but we are going to be working towards creating a portfolio of various pieces of performance, writing, and more. By the end of our 10 lessons, we'll have created something based on a new style of storytelling. And before we go any further, I'm going to pass it to Miss Danielle to help us warm up.
All right, everybody. I want you to get a nice big ball of energy going. Rub it till it's nice and hot. You have it, pat that all over your body. Oh, pat, 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 pat. All right, and roll those shoulders around. Make big circles. And then stick a crayon on your head. Draw some big circles with your head too. Get your neck moving all around. We really need our bodies today, so we want to make sure all the joints are moving. Okay. And can you make some waves in the ocean? Work your arms up and down. Good. And can they go from the sides? Side waves. Up and down. All right. Hands on your hips. You can do this sitting or standing. Standing probably would be better. I'm going to be sitting. I'm going to stick out my chest like a superhero. Nice and big. And then I'm going to bring it in like the villain. And stick out your chest, superhero. And villain. Bring it in. And superhero, puff it all the way out. And your evilest villain. You can roll your fingers too. Good. Shake it all out. You can shake out your feet. Shake out your legs. And then I want you to reach in front. Cross your hands. Grab all your fingers. Pull them into your chest. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And breathe out. Give yourself a big hug. Squeeze yourself nice and tight. Oh, let's try that one more time. So stick out our arms, cross them over, wrap your fingers, pull your hands into your chest. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and breathe out. And this time, I want you to show me 1 to 3 fingers. 1, not doing so good today. 2, you're doing okay, not too bad or too good. And 3, you're doing really good. So keep your eyes closed and then show me with your fingers, how are you feeling today? All right, give yourself another big hug. Oh. However you are feeling is okay. We're gonna work together. And hopefully, if the number is 1, we can get it up to a 2 or a 3 today. Okay, so our first activity is going to be using active verbs. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you in just a moment. And now, hopefully now you'll see this sentence. It says, I want to blank you. Okay, so in that space there, we're going to put some different verbs. Now I have some verbs already chosen for us. And they come from Laban, which is a method of describing movement. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 verbs that we're going to use. And when it's your turn, I want you to pick one of those verbs and state that sentence. So here are the verbs. I have punch, press, slash, ring, dab, glide, flick, and float. And I'm thinking maybe I should write some of these words out so we can see. So now I'll tell you again. We have punch, press. Well, you gotta love autocorrect, right? Slash. Sentence always starts with a capital. Ring. So this is a different kind of ring, not like ring on your finger. Ring like twisting, wringing out a towel. Dab. Now, don't think this is a different kind of dab. There's different interpretations for dab. Glide, flick, and float. Okay, so those are our verbs. I'll go ahead and scroll down again so you can see. And I will use Mr. Bryan as an example. Mr. Bryan, can you pick one of these verbs and complete the sentence?
Sure. I'm going to pick punch.
Punch. So Mr. Bryan is saying, I want to punch you. Okay. So you'll take turns doing that. And then we're going to say the sentence a second time. And this time, Mr. Bryan, I want you to add some movement to that sentence.
Is there anything specific, or just do whatever?
Think about the word punch and how you would move related to that word. How does that make you want to move your body?
Okay. So let's see here. I want to punch you.
Right. So he used his fist, right? He wants to punch. So think of these other words: press, slash, ring, dab, glide, flick, and float. And when you say those words, how does your voice change and how does your body change when you add the movement? Okay. So I'm going to do one too. I think maybe I'll do glide right here. Okay. So I'm going to change the sentence here. I want to glide you. Okay. So if I say I want to glide you and I add a movement, I think I'm going to go, I want to glide you. See how my voice changed? I said glide a little differently, right? And then my body, I tried to glide my body across the screen. All right, so now I want you to take some time with your class or whoever you're with right now, if you're at home, and try a couple of these. Don't just do one, maybe do 2 or 3. And let's see if we can try and go through all of the different verbs. If you're with your class, try and do all of the different verbs, okay? And I think what I'll do is I'll make this a little smaller so we can see all of the words on one page. My Zoom screen is blocking. I'm gonna make it smaller here. All right, there we go. There's all of our words and our sentence. Oh, now the sentence is really big. I want to blank you. Okay, so take a few minutes. Use all the verbs if you can, and then come back to us. All right, welcome back. How did we do? Which verbs were your favorite? Which one do you think had sounded the most like it it reads. So like flick, you flick something. Does that sound like the word? Or slash. I think slash sounds very much like the word.
Slash
We have,
61.
we have a name for that. It's called onomatopoeia. Okay. Onomatopoeia is when a word, when you say a word, it sounds like the word. Very interesting. So that's a little piece of information for you to put in your back pocket. And I hope you enjoyed that little activity, but we have one more for you. So I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Bryan. Let me close this one. There we go.
Thank you, Miss Danielle. And I'm going to receive that. And I'm going to move us forward with our activity for today. Now, to do that, well, in a moment, I'm going to share a poem with you. And before we do that, though, we're going to talk about a poem called Two Evening Moons. And we're going to do some choreography from poetry. And choreography, just as a reminder, is basically, we're going to give you some movement, we're going to give you some movement to move around with. And I'm tripping over my words a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to keep going. And we're going to talk about Two Evening Moons from Federico Garcia Lorca. Now, his full name is Federico del Sagrado Corazón de Jesús Garcia Lorca, otherwise known as Federico Garcia Lorca. And they were a poet and playwright from Spain. Now, they were actually from Spain, actual Hispanic, and not actually from Latin America. So just to distinguish the two. And they were popular in the early 20th century. Now, Lorca's writing explored some concept called surrealism. Now, surrealism, I would say, Miss Danielle, if you want to add on as well, but surrealism is basically exploring the rational with, I guess, just the exaggerated, the dream, to really just contrast the images created in the poem, which will make more sense as we go through it. But that's the core definition. And Miss Danielle, did you want to add anything else to that, or?
I think that was a pretty good, simple explanation.
I didn't want to make it too
We could do a
convoluted.
whole art class.
Yeah.
Surrealism.
But Lorca explored surrealism and used symbolism, but these styles were not really just mainstream yet. All right. And Lorca was also, was an activist, and was also assassinated at the beginning of the Spanish Civil War for being politically outspoken. And I didn't know that actually until I was starting to go through this lesson as well. But yeah. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring up the poem. So let me see if I can move things around here, and we're going to pop up the poem on the screen. And as we do, we are going to read through it in both English and in Spanish.
Just a moment.
Good. We can see. All right, my friends. So on your screen, we have Two Evening Moons. All right, and we're going to go through it here. Now, I'm a visual learner, as some of us at home are. But if you need to, you can also pause and take your time with the poem. But right now, we're going to read through the English version right now. And we have our Two Evening Moons translated by Sarah Arvil. So let's go through it. For Lorita, my sister's friend. The moon is dead. It will come back to life in the spring. When a south wind ruffles the brow of the poplars. When our heart yield their harvest of sighs. When the roof wear their grass hats. The moon is dead. It will come back to life in the spring. 2. For Isabelita, my sister. The evening sings a lullaby to the oranges. My little sister sings, the earth is an orange. The moon weeping says, I want to be an orange. You can't be, my dear. even if you turn pink or a little bit lemon. How sad. All right, my friends, and that's the English version. And now I'm going to give the Spanish translation a go. All right, now it's the same exact thing, just translated into Spanish. We might have a little bit of a difference in conjugation or replacement, but the core, the feeling is all the same. All right. Dos lunas del tarde. Sorry, let me try that again. Dos lunas de tarde. Uno. Alorita, amiga de mi hermana. La luna está muerta, muerta. Pero rosicita en la primavera. Cuando en la frente de los chopos se rice el viento del sur. Cuando de nuestros corazones su cosecha de suspiros. Cuando se pongan los tejados, sus sombreritos de hierba, la luna está muerta, muerta, pero resiste en la primavera. 2. A Isabelita, mi hermana. La tarde canta. Una versus a las naranjas. Mi hermanita canta. La tierra es una naranja. La luna llorando dice, yo quiero ser una naranja. No puede ser mi hija mía. Aunque te pongas rosada, ni siquiera limoncito, qué lástima. Awesome. All right. And there we go, my friends. There is our poems in English and Spanish. And if you haven't had the Spanish experience before, congratulations. You experienced it as well. All right. And so what I want to do now is, I appreciate that poem every time I take a, thank you, Miss Danielle, by the way, for helping us share the screen. And the cool part about that is every time we take a look at that poem, you really start to experience that sort of that contrast. All right. Now, before I, say, get distracted and think about that, because I love the imagery and the contrast, I'm going to ask right now some ideas just to think about. All right. I'm going to go through them again, but number one, and if you want to write this down, pause after each one. That's cool. If not, just listen along. What happens in this poem? Number two, how are the stanzas, each segment, little paragraphs, how are the stanzas different from each other? How are they similar? What is the moon's purpose in them? Number three, what is the significance or importance of citrus fruit in the poem? And number four is my favorite. What images do you see in your head when you read or listen to this poem? Okay. All right. Now, what I want to do now is just let's talk it out just a little bit here. So what happens in this poem exactly? I'm asking you at home. There's no wrong answers. So we're talking about what? The moon? Is that what we're talking about? So when we have two evening moons, it's almost as if we have two, I would say, me personally, I would say two, the same moon, but on two different evenings. Right? Just two different interpretations of it, which is kind of cool because we have all our different voices watching at home or wherever you are. And it's just two different experiences. How about you? What do you think at home? Miss Danielle, what are you thinking? What happens in this poem for you?
Well, for me, I see the two different perspectives, seeing the moon in a different way. One feels a little more sad, one's a little more joyous. But maybe that's just me. I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about poetry is you can take different things from it than other people. You might not see it or read it the same.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Love that. And my friends, I want you to take a look now with those questions that we had as well. Did the first one together a little bit here, but I want you to take a look at how is each stanza different? What images do you see? Maybe what do you interpret the poem to mean for you? Because we have, again, specifically 2 different versions of the moon, and we have all these different versions of interpretations at home. So take some time, pause, and when you're ready, come on back. Because for the next thing, well, pause, and when you're ready, unpause. All right, I'm gonna assume we're unpause. And what I wanna do now is, I want you to pick one of the stanzas, one of the little like separated paragraphs from one of the poems, and we're gonna add movement to it like we did in the active verb game. So for the sake of this, let's, Miss Danielle, let's bring up the poem one more time.
You got it.
Awesome. Thank you, thank you. And for the sake of this, let's all do the first little stanza together. So after it says, for Lorita, my sister's friend, we're going to take, the moon is dead, dead. It will come back to life in the spring. It's a little part we've highlighted right there. All right. So now let's take that little stanza, that little chunk, and let's take it one line at a time. So I'm going to count down from 5, and we're going to just take the moon is dead, dead. I want you to create a frozen picture from that line. All right, and ready? First thought, best thought. All right, whatever's coming to mind first. Ready, set, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and freeze. The moon is dead, dead. Stay frozen. I'm going to take a look around. All right, you're doing it, doing it. All right, and even if you don't have something, the first thought that comes to mind, or if you see someone else doing something that you like, go ahead, join them. All right, and relax. Let that go. Let that go. And now, it will come back to life in the spring. It will come back to life in the spring. So for this, I want you to give me a movement, a silent movement that feels right for it will come back to life in the spring. All right, give you 5 seconds. First thought, best thought. Ready, set, go. It will come back to life in the spring. And I promise you, Miss Danielle and I did not talk about this beforehand. But look at that, kind of something similar, right? When you feel something, it just kind of feels right, right? And just go with that. All right, and we're gonna stay like this for the rest of class. I'm just kidding, let that go, let that go. Whatever movement you did, keep it. If you hate it, don't keep it, just do something else, all right? Now, let's do that stanza itself all together. So whatever your frozen movement for the moon is dead, dead, and then it will come back to life in the spring. Ready? All right, set. We're gonna take it one line at a time. Ready, set, go. The moon is dead, dead. It will come back to life in the spring. Excellent, excellent. And let that go. Give yourselves a silent applause. All right, my friends. And now, what we're gonna do, I want you to choose, now that we have that all together. So we have, the moon is dead, dead. It will come back to life in the spring. So let's actually see if we can do this. Miss Danielle, I know I'm throwing something too much at you, but can we put a 1 next to that? That's possible. Cool, cool. When a south wind, so the next stanza, when a south wind ruffles the brow of the poplars, that's going to be 2. And 3, let's say 3 is when our heart yield their harvest of sighs. Number 4, when the roof wear their grass hats. And 5, The moon is dead, dead. All right, my friends. So we've done one together. So right now, I want you to choose something for two, something for three, something for four, and something for five. What, Mr. Bryan, that's too much. We don't have enough time. Well, you kind of do, because as soon as you hit pause, please come back. But as soon as you hit pause, you have all the time you need to come up with movements for each section. All right. Now, if you only choose one for right now, that's okay. But come back in like a minute or two. Don't take too long. At least choose one. I'm going to reread through it. All right. So hit pause and come back in a minute. Ready? Timing you. Go. And unpause. All right. So got it? Because I'm going to read through it. Because the reason we're only doing this first section, my friends, you can do the rest on your own later, or with a friend, or with your class. You'll see. All right. So I'm going to do it with you, the first one, and then I'm just going to read it to see what you come up with, right? So you don't feel any pressure. And of course, saying no pressure means, more pressure, right? But it's all good. It's just fun, friends. All right. For Lorita, my sister's friend. The moon is dead, dead. It will come back to life in the spring. When a south wind ruffles the brow of the poplars, when our heart yield their harvest of sighs, when the roofs wear their grass hats, the moon is dead, dead. It will come back to life in the spring. Yeah, nice. And now, my friends, since you already did it, let's take that exact same thing and let's scroll down to our Spanish translation. And Miss Danielle, thank you for your help. Can we break this into 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5? So la luna está muerta, muerta is 1. Cuando is 2. Cuando is 3. Y cuando is 4. And la luna está muerta, muerta, 5. Now, my friends, even if you don't know Spanish, guess what? You just did the English translation. And for my Spanish speakers, you're pros. You can teach us all later even more. All right. So it's the same exact meaning. So don't get caught up in, oh, is it right? Is it wrong? If you're not sure, just take a look at the English. It's right next to it. You've already done it. So trust. All right. Now I'm going to say pause if you need to take a look, because the one lines up with from the English lines up with the one in the Spanish, and 2 and 2. But just in case, take a pause and come right back. All right, we're back. Ready? Breathe, shake it out. All right, let's begin. A la horita, amiga de mi hermana. La luna está muerta, muerta, pero resucita en la primavera. Cuando en la frente de los chopos se rice del viento del sur. Cuando de nuestros corazones se cosecha de suspiros. Cuando se pongan los tejados sus sombreritos de hierba. La luna está muerta, muerta, pero resucita en la primavera. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. And my friends, that's it. You can take a look, do a further deep dive into it if you prefer, if you like. It's a lot of fun, these poems. All right. So now, if you want to also share with anyone around you, please find a grown-up, share with them, share with a friend, have fun. Now, what I want to do now is close your eyes and thank you for your time. Take a big deep breath in and head down. Now, just think about what we've done today. Playing with surrealism. Talking about Federico Garcia Lorca or Federico del Sagrado Corazón de Jesús Garcia Lorca, giving that respect to the full name. Thinking about the poem, thinking about Le Bon, punch, press, slash, ring, dab, glide, flick, and float, and the fun we've had today. I want you to hold up the fingers. How are you doing today? 1 is not so good, 2 is okay, and 3 is good. How are you feeling? Keep those eyes closed. Put those fingers down and slowly open your eyes, roll up your head. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.